Miss Lizzie. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditzies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys, Miss Liz in the house, and we have a new month, and we're starting off with tea. That's right, Miss Liz is starting the month of June off with tea. We have the amazing Carmine Del Sordi in the house, and we're going to talk about pure and easy tea, but we're also going to talk about his book that's called Welcome to the Big Leads, 9 Innings of Essential Tips for the Corporate Rookie. That's the book we'll be talking about today. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. We get over to all those platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clapper, Lemonade, Blue Sky, all those good platforms. Give those a like, follow, and subscribe, and get these tea times out there, because they do make a difference for the guest and for somebody that resonates with each of the topics that come to the table. Also, check out the podcast apps: Podbean, Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those good platforms, and all the ones that I haven't mentioned. Check those ones out too. Miss Liz is on them. There's a big long list of all those apps out there, right, guys? And then check out babyboomers.org, because Miss Liz is partnered with them. If you're looking to be on other podcasts and Miss Liz is not the flavor for you, you can check out those podcast appers. I like to always celebrate everybody else along with myself. So let's get started with disclaimer, and let's do a beautiful intro, and then we're going to get Carmine in here, and we're going to spill his tea. And his tea today is purity, intentions, and discipline. Those are the words that we will be speaking about today as well on Tea Time. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I, Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show was presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussions, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com, or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart. And if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where stories remind us that success is not always about reaching the top of a mountain. Sometimes it's about having the courage to begin a completely new climb. Today's guest brings us a remarkable journey of leadership, reinvention, purpose, and lifelong learning. Please join me in welcoming Carmine Del Sordi, founder of Pure and Easy Tea, entrepreneur, author, and lifelong student of growth and mastery. After decades of success across consumer goods, biotechnology, and high-tech industries, Carmine made a bold decision that many only dream about. Rather than simply retiring, he chose to build something meaningful from the ground up, creating a premium tea company centered on purity, intentional living, discipline, and excellence. His book, Welcome to the Big Leads, reflects lessons learned through years of leadership, business, personal growth, and the the pursuit of becoming better every day. At the heart of Carmen's work is a powerful belief. Success is not a destination, it is commitment to continue learning, humility, and growth. Today's Tea Time will explore leadership and reinvention, building purpose after success, the discipline behind mastery, humility is business and life, and creating a meaningful legacy through intentional living. Carmen reminds us that every stage of life offers a new opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute in ways we may never have imagined. So grab your cup and join us for a thoughtful conversation filled with wisdom, perspective, and real life tea, truth, experience, and awareness. And let me get Carmen in here and let's spill some tea together. Welcome, Carmen.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Nice to finally meet you.
It is a pleasure. It's always nice to put a face to each other, right? That we were saying that just before we went live. There's that Miss Liz.
Right. Well, we've booked this so many months ago, right? Maybe even last year.
I believe it was last year.
Wow. So it's finally here, the date, and great to actually see you. Yes. A long time ago.
Right? A lot of people, Carmen, they don't believe that Miss Liz books months and months ahead of time. Like Miss Liz is booked until December 31st. I appreciate everybody reaching out, but I am book solid and I have an amazing guest. Carmen, let's get to know you a little bit today.
Sure.
Who was Carmen as a little guy and who is Carmen now?
Oh, wow. As a little guy, wow, that requires some thinking. I had a very loving family. I came from a broken home and I had great family members. So a lot of my uncles were mentors growing up and cousins and so on. And they really kept me on a good path throughout my childhood. It was a fun childhood, but yeah, I mean, so long ago. I can't complain about the childhood at all. But growing up Italian, you have a big family, and so there was a lot of love there. Whatever I didn't have in my immediate household, I had definitely with my aunts and uncles and cousins and relatives. So a wonderful childhood on the East Coast. And then after high school, made my way to Arizona. And after my undergraduate degree, started my career with Revlon and then moved to the Bay Area, went to grad school and had a nice career that you had mentioned in biotechnology and high tech and so on. Retired from corporate at the age of 50 and hung it up and came back to Scottsdale and was enjoying retirement and decided to get back and build a purpose-driven brand.
And how was that like to build a business at the age of 50?
Well, yeah, actually over 50, right? So I was about 2 years retired. It was different. It was very different. The biggest thing, I wasn't prepared for the hours of work and being back at a computer for 12 hours a day. So then had to ergonomically get correct again. Carpal tunnel started to set in. Your mind stopped, wasn't ready. I mean, so many factors that you just couldn't prepare for, right? It was, it's an amazing story, an amazing journey, and I'm sure we'll get to all of it. So I'm not sure how much to reveal now, but
well, you can spill as much as you want. It's your tea time.
Well, whatever you're really interested in, we could go and guide the conversation there. So the big thing, though, when I did start Pure and Easy Tea, I realized it came from a personal journey for myself. When I had my career in the Bay Area, I was an avid runner. And at the even keel temperatures in the Bay Area, you could run and run and run and need very little in fluids and hydration and so on. And I used to rely on all the typical stuff, Gatorade, goo, very strong type of stuff. Well, when I retired to Scottsdale, I became an avid tennis player. And was in the hot sun. For me, I just go all in and immerse myself 3 to 5 hours a day, killing myself out there. And I relied on the Gatorade, the goo, and the stuff I used to take for hydration. And everything in a short period of time started to make me sick. And I went down to lighter, like Vita water from Gatorade, Buy water, lighter, 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 sick, 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 all chemical laden stuff. Stanford Mall, buy some tea. And those teas were so pure. I'm like, I'm going to start buying, doing the pure teas and add maybe a little electrolytes to them, some Himalayan pink salt. So I reached to my cupboard and I still had some of the tea I used to drink. I opened up the canister and all I could smell were chemicals. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, is not even my pure tea pure anymore? And so that's when I really took matters into my own hands, never thinking about a business. I started getting on Amazon and ordering certain herbs that I knew about and building blends for myself. And after 3 months' time, I'm drinking these teas. I'm so hydrated. I'm so nourished, no sticky aftertaste. I'm like, wow, I cannot be the only one who would appreciate this. And then that started, the light bulb went off. And then it
ding, ding, let's go back to work.
Yeah. And so when I did start that and realized I was going to make it a business, the business side of my brain started, triggering again, just like the old days. Now, when I set out to do the brand, the most interesting thing was I wanted to keep my full anonymity. I didn't want Carmine Del Sordi, nothing, no association with the brand. I was going to build a brand that could speak on its own merit. And when I did the research on the market, the opportunities, everything, I realized tea was a very saturated market. Okay, there's a ton of tea companies out there. You walk into any supermarket, you go to the tea aisle, there's literally 50 different companies. So how am I going to be different? And that's where the business side took over. And I realized, starting with like Blue Ocean strategy, there's a 4-action framework to follow where you reduce and eliminate those things that aren't working and raise, elevate, and create new. And when I started assessing the market that was out there, I started seeing a lot of shortcuts, right? These are like the competitor's product, tea dust, loaded with flavorings, chemicals, microplastics, and so much. And then I wanted to elevate and create. And this was everything with like our tea bags, real whole botanicals, purposeful blends, nutrient rich, all functional, delivered with purpose. And then the customer value proposition was to give it in abundance. So super high quality, but in abundance, so people could truly make a lifestyle change and a ritual from it. So like our tea bags, when we put out teas, they're in 100-gram bags like this. I mean, you could see how alive and flavorful the blends are, never any chemicals, all pure, all full of nutrition, very, very intentional. And then we recommend brewing like this, in glass, no microplastics, and drinking in abundance. So it could really, provide you with the ample nutrition. So all around, different in very way, a lifestyle change, a daily ritual for your health and for your wellness. And we started, and it has just been really taking off. We hit the market at the right time. Our customers love it, very loyal. And yeah, that's where we are today.
Well, we have some questions that are coming into the studio that I just want to get out to you. And you kind of shared a little bit. This one comes in from Golf Tips. It's what inspired you to leave corporate life and start Pure and Easy Tea? How did you get the name?
Oh, that's a really good question. So the name was twofold. So a double meaning to me. Pure, because I was sourcing the purest botanicals we could get our hands on. When you look at them, I want the highest quality. And I will give the analogy of like the shrimp, right? When you go somewhere and order shrimp, you could get bay shrimp like this or colossal ones. If I was going to put out a tea, I want the upper echelon, the highest quality ingredients. I do not care about the cost. And then the easy was, I'm making it so easy for you to get all of the herbs and essential botanicals that you need to fully nourish around a particular function. So when I first set out to do some of my blends, I have 9, 10 pure items in these blends, and all proportioned at the right ratio to make it look good, smell good, taste good, but more importantly, in a 3 to 5 gram serving, make it perform a function. And some of my blends, 3 adaptogens in them. I mean, they're amazing, amazing, very complex, nuanced blends that, are designed, all of them, with extreme purpose.
Well, we're going to get into the blends, but I just want to pop up this comment here from Podcast Show. Is Carmen's journey is a great reminder that success isn't always about achievements or titles. It's about finding purpose and continuing to grow. Thank you, Miss Liz, for bringing such thoughtful guests. You guys are very welcome. You guys, I couldn't do this without the guests and the listeners. We have a question here from Todd, and it is, why did you retire at 50 and start over? For all the 50-year-olds out there, I'm in the 50 club as well. How was it for you at 50 to start over?
Well, I retired at the age of 50. So what had happened, we had some really good success with our investments. And I was living in the Bay Area and transitioning between certain jobs. And the last job I was in, it was a long commute. It just wasn't right. I had 3 homes at the time, 3 houses.
Wow.
We had a house in the Bay Area, a house in Scottsdale, Arizona, and a house in New Jersey at the shore. And I had, at the time, maybe $1 million in mortgages. And I really felt that, hey, let's just pack out of everything. Why am I sacrificing so much? The business landscape in the Bay Area had changed so much. People just weren't happy. And it was like, I'm sacrificing such a big portion of my life, and it felt like a lack of purpose, only for a paycheck, right? And being there, I mean, we were paying 52% in taxes a year. So that added into it. And when you think about that, you're getting up every day, working, putting in your 50, 60-hour work week, never mind a commute and so on top of it. And you're not recognizing a net income until after 4th of July, right? So much going in taxes. And it's like, we were just on this wheel. And it's like, you know what? Let's get out of debt. Let's pay off everything and let's take it easy. And we did, and it was going really good. So I was heavily invested in biotech. I knew the sector really well. And a couple of the companies I had major investments in went bankrupt. So I lost a lot. And I realized that the way we like to live and travel and do everything, I'm never going to stop making money. Okay. So maybe I won't be in corporate anymore, but what could I do with purpose that's fulfilling? And there was no rush. So I was just taking my time. And then, that day on a tennis court, when I'm like, I have the answer right in front of me. Look how good this product is. And there's nothing out there like it. All the light bulbs went off. And it was only until about 6 months ago that I wrote myself into the brand. So when I started the brand, complete anonymity. And
So you were the shadow guy.
What's that?
You were the shadow guy for months.
Yes. I was completely out of it. I'm like, let the products speak for itself on its own merit. And the reason for that is I didn't want my name associated with it because I got so tired from having myself out there with my book. So when I had my book and promoting, it was all about me selling myself on everyone. And it's like, you know what? This is a brand. This is a product. I'm selling a lifestyle. Let the products stand on their own merit. It doesn't need me. And then sure enough, after 3.5 years and fulfilling, more than 30,000 orders and a growing customer base, everyone wanted the transparency. So I'm getting flooded with emails. Tell us more. Tell us more. And then it's like, well, you know what? This company, Pure and Easy Tea, is truly a culmination of my entire being. I do have to write myself in. And I was urged to by some friends that I have here. And they're like, they want to see you. They want to see you. They want to know. And so that's when I started and doing podcasts and being outspoken and telling the story.
Well, a lot of people want to see who's the face right behind it. It's just like Miss Liz with my posters. I don't like to plaster my face on the posters. I put the little logo on it and everybody's like, who's Miss Liz? And then when they come to the interview, they're like, oh, there you are.
Yes.
We have a question here from Sean that I'd like to get out to you. It's looking back, what was the most important lesson you learned from your years in corporate leadership?
The most important lesson, well, I was blessed to have really great mentors. The most important lesson I've ever learned was it's truly should be your own path of mastery and move away from expecting climatic moments after climatic moments. And by that, I mean promotions, raises. It truly, a career is not about that. Those are like bonuses and great things to come. A career should be fulfilling and rewarding where you own your lane and you master it and you build over time. All of those skills, anything that interests you, there's just so many skills to build. And that was a very valuable lesson for me. When I first got out of grad school, I was so amped and motivated to just become a VP and take on the world and,
well, that's what society kind of sells us, right, Carmen, is if we're not successful unless we have those leadership roles, right? Unless we're at the top of the ladder. The bottom guy who is running a purposeful business and happy, go lucky, that's not success in society,
Right.
And that's why I love having these stories on, purpose, because people need to understand the word purpose is it is the raise, it is the rewards, it is the promotion of understanding that you're doing it from the heart. You're not doing it for the dollar sign, right? And there's nothing wrong with a dollar sign, guys. And I know a lot of you guys come at me for the dollar sign, but when you put the purpose in there, the money does come. It does find its way to you, but you got to put the heart in there. And I think that's what a lot of people were looking for when they were like, okay, we want to know Carmen. We want to know the guy behind that. Be transparent, like the cup of tea, right? The tea is transparent and it comes to the table and it says, drink me.
Right.
But being in corporate world for so long, you were like selling all the time that you were just like, you know what? I don't want to do this again. I don't want to come to the table. I don't want to sell. I don't want to. I just want the tea to sell itself. And I get that 100%.
Right.
And it kind of goes into the tea that you gave me. The 3 words you gave me was purity, intention, and discipline. That sounds like a really strong cup of tea. Now, if you could put flavors or blends with those three words, what flavors and blends would you put for those words?
Well, all of my blends are pure. Um, and I have three lines of tea. I have a luxury line for people that are just tea drinkers. I have a performance, a wellness line for functional blends to help with either digestion, skin, metabolism. And then I have a performance line to really help with cognitive function and brain and athleticism. And so all of them are so pure and intentional by the craftsmanship of every ingredient that goes in and what it does and so on. So it's the foundation of everything. And one other thing we didn't hint on at all, and when I say this truly is a culmination of my entire life story. When I was in my undergrad degree, my 54-year-old mother, who was a beautiful, beautiful woman, she looked about 40, went in the doctors to see the doctors for a checkup. And a couple tests later, a couple weeks later, she's given 6 weeks to live. Okay. And I told the doctors, they're crazy, right? But at the same time, I was sick to my stomach. At that time in my life, I was just determined to cure her, prove all the doctors wrong. This was when the internet wasn't even the internet. It was Lexis and Nexus databases. I was up and worked frantically 24/7, looking at clinical studies, everything for the cancer she had, studying nutrition. I read a book in 24 hours that was called Cancer Therapy by Dr. Ralph Moss. One of the best books I've ever read in my life that would change my life forever. And meeting with holistic doctors and writing up plans and going through all that. I couldn't save my mother. The doctors were right. Everything was too late. But it took me almost literally like 10 years to get over the hurt, the hole that left me. And it was so amazing when I think with intention about how I started this brand and this company with the foundation of knowledge of all of these herbs and ingredients and the backstory. And now it's like everything I did throughout my life, I've always tried to help people. And that's why I initially, wrote the book I did when I did at that time many years ago. And that's why I built this brand that's just so amazing. And we could get into the depth of the brand and what it is doing, the lifestyle of it, and tea as a ritual. So everything I do now is so purpose-driven, so intentional, and I'm loving every single step of it and my life each and every day, and meeting incredible people, touching incredible people, and always, like I had in corporate, always raising the bar on myself to be better, do better, achieve more in a positive way.
Well, we have another question coming in from Step Into the Valley, and what challenges did you face when building Pure and Easy Tea?
Oh, there were many challenges. So I'm crazy to a fault, like a perfectionist. And at first, anytime I released a blend, I would have to buy anything close to it on the market. I would have to make sure the blend worked, right? Look good, smell good, taste good, perform a function, and work. And so the challenge of releasing a blend, it took me a year and a half to release my first blend. Okay. And then when we had it released, the biggest wake up call was, okay, the blends are released. let's go orders. Come on, I'm here. And crickets, right?
Well, that's it, right? It's like there's
So
nothing, right?
because I'm here doesn't mean the market was. And then I learned, something fascinating, and everyone should at least be aware of this. My timing from reaching people direct to consumer was horrible in a way. And when I say horrible, what had happened was the direct to consumer market had exploded. And companies like Peloton, Casper Mattress, Allbirds, all these companies were direct to consumer, and they had grown from nothing to be 10, 100, $300 million companies. And Google, Facebook, all of the social media platforms realized that they're all getting rich on direct to consumer from us. We're making it too easy for them. They increased their prices 8x to advertise, to be seen. And so everyone on this call, everyone listening, you would probably realize, like, many years ago, it was so easy to get a lot of followers.
Yeah.
I mean, when I wrote my book in the first weekend, I had like 10,000 followers. Now I'm here I'm going into my 5th year, and maybe I have 4,000 followers, with a large brand and so much more in sales. So they make it extremely tough. Advertising, there's metrics to worry about. Advertising cost of sales. And as a percent, to be profitable, your advertising cost of sales need to be around 20%. Well, when we first started, it was at 110% for 3 months. So I would have to spend 11,000 to have 10,000 in sales, right? And to be seen against all the competitors. I mean, very, very tough, very challenging. But in the long run, if your quality's good, you believe that people are coming back, and you grow more organically. So, but very challenging, and a very, very big wake-up call.
Well, a lot of people think, right, it's overnight success. It's not. There's a lot of ups and downs when you're building something, and like you said, the crickets. Right. You think, okay, I got the blend, and let's spill it. Let's get it out there. Let's do this. And then all of a sudden it's like there's nothing, right? I want to talk about the book, but before we get there, we have another question here that came in from Matthew that I'd like to get out, and then we have a comment that I'd like to read as well. Is how do you balance ambition with gratitude?
Gratitude is always first. Ambition doesn't even come into play anymore. Not at all. Not for me. I'm not ambitious at all. Motivation is an internal engine. It's okay to be ambitious. It's okay to be extremely confident, but it's a fine line. My favorite line that I've ever said, that I ever came up with, is arrogance is ignorance. And I believe that. And I had years in my life where I was arrogant. I looked up to certain people who were arrogant, and I'm like, I'm not Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein was very humble, right? And if he could be humble, how am I arrogant in any way? And so humility sets in, and then gratitude. And so I say my gratitudes every single day. I'm grateful for so much. Yes, you don't, ambition is more like motivation. And when you find purpose and you know who you are, it's all natural. Once you have purpose, you find purpose in something, you really pursue it with conviction. And if you're not after the prize or after anything immediate, baby steps in the right direction lead to a huge quantum leap over time. And it's never work because you're following a path of something you love, or continuous improvement, or honing your skills.
Right. And when you stop chasing, the entitlements and the titles and all of that, you start to see what's really important, right? And the flow of tea. I know it's a puny thing to say tea, but you know what? my Oma taught me at a young age, at the age of 4, that tea was part of what we serve from ourselves, right? From the inside of the cup. It wasn't even anything to do with the beverage. It was what we were putting into our bodies. How were we serving other people in our communities, and our families and that as well. And that's what I'm getting from you sharing, Carmen, is that you're sharing the pure and easy thoughts of what tea could do for your body, right? The wellness and the so like you mentioned that you have 3 different blends and 3 different types of tea. So
Right.
right, so you have the luxury. So is that the stronger blends for the luxury drinkers, or like is there a difference with the blends, like with the different
Yeah, so the
types?
categories, so luxury line are just pure teas that are not set out to provide any function. So like
Okay.
your regular tea, but what we are giving you is the pure ingredients there, right? So you're getting unsweetened dried fruits straight from nature. They'll still be complex, but they're not after anything but pure indulgence, like a chai or anything else.
Well, we have a comment here from Bob, and it's inspiring to hear how Carmen retired from a successful corporate career and still found the courage to start something completely new and meaningful. For all my older listeners out there, the baby boomers, you can be any age and start over. You don't have to be, in your 20s. I find a lot of the newer brands and businesses that are out there are being created by the 50s and 60s and 70-year-olds individuals. Uh, Carmen, I want to talk to you about your book. So I'm going to pull up
Mhm.
the book, but I also know you have the book so people can see the book.
Right.
Let's talk about Welcome to the Big Leads. How did you come about that and the title and all that good stuff?
Uh, yeah, so the book was an amazing journey for me. I do still have a hardcover here. And it was while I was actually in corporate. When I was in corporate, I've always been a part of like management programs where we had some incredible coaches. And we would have to, while being in this program, everyone in it, we would have to read a book a quarter. And so many of them were these big books that you read with only maybe 3 or 4 tips in there, but everything else is like the same mundane thing that you're reading regurgitated over and over again. And I was so blessed with so many great mentors. And one of my mentors hit the nail on the head. We were like in a 5-generation workplace. And he really felt that he was at the end of his career and all of his wisdom, he couldn't share it with the new entrants. They just had nothing in common, right? The generational gap and so on. And I said, huh, another light bulb went off. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with job rotation, helping people. I see where people are misguided. I see all the ambition. I could really help people here for the new entrant. So I wasn't arrogant enough saying, I'm going to write a leadership book. Okay. This is for the new entrant into corporate America. So the best graduation gift from someone leaving college and entering corporate. And some of the biggest things, never mind all the stats that are in here with around wellness and people in general, and how many, like 85% of the people in the workforce today would say they're struggling as opposed to thriving.
Yeah.
And some of the keys in here, never mind some of the funny stories, the baseball backdrop and all of it, but it was built around a pursuit and a path of mastery. And I coined the acronym in here as POEMS for physical, occupational, economic, mental, and social. And I teach in here a system to pursue each avenue in moderation. And when you do, your life could come together as harmoniously as the acronym. If one spoke collapses, your life could really fall apart in a certain way. And it is Yeah, it was truly rewarding. I spoke at quite a few different colleges, had a presentation all around it, and it was very, very purposeful. And I realized how I've been through it all. I really have. With my mom dying right before I hit the corporate world, with me wanting to get ahead, always on a path, with me having great mentors, with me being arrogant, with me being humbled, with I have great experience to give the new entrant. You know, they're not going to come in. You don't just go from A to Z. Your career doesn't go like this. There's plateaus. Well, when you're in a plateau, embrace it. Build your own skills. You can't rely on your manager. When I wrote the book, everything was changing. All of the organizations were flattening out. Managers went from having one to, three direct reports to 15.
Yeah.
And nobody got promoted above their boss. So they were being kept down, wanting to get ahead. And, everyone would resent their manager. And if you look at the stats, a bad manager makes you sick.
Yes,
At
they
home
do.
with you, it makes you sick. So how do we avoid all of that? It's about teaching self-responsibility, pursuit of those skills to get you to the next level. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Build your skills. You want to be a CEO? Number one skill, CEO, judgment, right? Strategy. Number two, communication. Work on presenting, communicating. It's an amazing thing, right? You don't point the finger. There's no victims. We're all blessed to be here. You're privileged, right? But you could work for the best, what you think is the best company in the world. Google, Apple, any of them today. You don't work for that company. You work for your boss and maybe your boss's boss, and that's it. So you have to master that work environment and where you are and, work on yourself. Because when you have the
Absolutely.
skills, you could go anywhere. You're worth something.
Well, and I'm hearing that from a lot of the guests that I've had on that worked in corporate America and corporate Canada, and that is that they could never get to the top. The boss was always pushing them down. They were getting little tips, little rewards, but they were never able to get that promotion to the top, right? And I think that's where a lot of resentment came in towards corporate America and corporate Canada, all the corporate out there, because they were holding people back, and people were like, you know what, we're going to just start building our own businesses. We're going to start learning from the bottom up and starting our own. And who can stop us? Nobody can stop us because we're building it ourselves, right?
Yes. But, and the same is true. It's perspective as well. So any leader, right? Leadership, the goal is to get people to willingly follow.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're really purpose driven and selling something that you believe in, you're going to follow. And there's no better joy in that than that. Right. So we saw it working in biotech, where the mission is helping people, developing these tests, really concerned about the family, the lives, and what we're putting out there, extending lives. It's very purpose driven. And then you have the other. If you don't have respect for your leader and you don't want to support them, then, your writing's on the wall. But at the same time, there's an opportunity in everything. You don't have to run from anything. Skill development is always there. Build your skills. Prepare yourself for the next opportunity. Know what you want. Visualize it. That's what mastery is. Visualize what you want and stay on that course to get there. Don't derail until you display it, right?
My Oma always told me, you know what? It's time to change the tea. Don't stay in the cup of tea too long, because if it gets bitter and stale, then there's no flavor left in it, right? You're just drinking this, and it's like a bad cup of tea.
Right.
And there's okay to change. It's okay to take a different cup. It's okay to add different waters, different honeys, butters, and, to your tea, change it up a little bit. We have a couple more questions that I'd like to get out to, Carmen. And then I have some lightning bolt questions I'd like to get out to you as well.
Okay.
Discovery Connecticut, did you always know you wanted to build something of your own, Carmen?
That's a good question. I felt, yes, I really did. I felt I would have a calling. And, one of the things, you feel that the world is moving 24/7. And I wanted something, I truly wanted for myself to find a way to have an income that went 24/7, where I didn't just have to be working, right, by the hour and limited to what I could make as an income. So I did always, and this was the first sign of it. My first step into being an entrepreneur was having a book that would live and breathe and be out there, that could sell while I went to sleep, that people would read, and so on. And so, yes, I always felt I would build something.
And we have a question from Banter Show is, what keeps you motivated when progress feels slow?
My own path of mastery. When you truly embrace what mastery is, it's embracing the plateau. And a plateau could be long, but I'm really getting better each and every day. Would I love Pure and Easy Tea to be a $30 million brand today? When we started, we were zero. Now we're approaching seven figures. It's been hard. It's incredibly difficult, but I have so much purpose and intention with it that I just pursue it every day. And yeah, I look back 3 years, we were zero. Now look where we are. What's the next 3 years going to be like? And so it's continuous improvement in incremental small steps. But you have to identify first. And that was one of the things I spoke about in my book with these young newbies. You have to know who you are first. Okay? You really do. Who are you? That's the question I ask. You have to know it inside and out. And if you don't, you'll be labeled something. Others are so quick, especially in corporate, to put a label on you. When you know who you are, you could really pursue that with conviction. And when you know who you are, you know what your boundaries are and your principles, you're not going to fly off the rails on social media full of angst and just type something, because it's not in your character. It's not who you are or where you want to be. There's no room for it. It's, visualizing and following a path and being honest with yourself. It's the lost people that don't have the intention, that fail.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to one more stat that I was saying at the beginning of the year. 85% of New Year's resolutions fail by January 9th. 85%. So New Year's Day, everyone makes a resolution. 9 days later, they fail. It's not a lack of motivation. Everyone's motivated. It's having a system. You need a system, a routine, something to follow that gets you on your path. You can't say you're going to be a great leader and get there without knowing what it takes and having your path to develop to get there. It doesn't happen by chance.
Yeah.
And don't be on autopilot with your life or your career. You have to be very, very intentional.
Well, I hear a lot of times, Miss Liz, you're so lucky. I don't believe in luck, guys. I believe in hard work and discipline,
Right.
and getting up and showing, and keeping your word. A lot of people, they speak a good talk, but they don't walk that talk. And I show up sick, tired, and exhausted sometimes. And people will say, Miss Liz, you don't look tired. I'm tired. I've put in 40 hours of work. There's so much work that goes in behind these shows, and to find the guests, and like we said at the beginning of the show, Carmen, this was booked last year.
Right.
So there's lots of work that goes in behind it. When you're turning on and you're watching a live stream, don't just think it's just like camera in action. It's actually a lot of prep and work and determination in the back that is saying, you know what, I hope the listeners come in and enjoy the show. I like this comment here. I just want to read it out from Sean. And it says, this discussion is motivating me to rethink some of my own goals. And that's why Miss Liz does what she does. I bring people to the table so that you can rethink your life. It's not saying you change your life, but there might be something that needs a new avenue, a new path, a new direction sometimes.
Yes.
Another comment we have here is purpose and discipline, powerful combination. And then we have a question here from Mario. Pure and easy tea seems built on much more than just a product. It's a philosophy. Let's talk about philosophy, because we don't talk about this in today's world as much as we should.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Pure and Easy Tea, I created something. When you go to the website, the heart of what our company is and what I'm selling, it's a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle change built around intention. When you go to our website, right there for free for everyone, it's called The Ritual. And I wrote it to guide people through a tea practice. Now, globally, tea is the second most consumed beverage in the world. And tea, they have tea ceremonies in Japan, tea practices, very, very intentional, very respected. When I wrote my book, and even back then, so many years ago, it was 12 years ago, it was materials. And one of the stats that was staggering to me is that we make 30,000 decisions in a day. 30,000. The majority of, 99% of those decisions were on autopilot, right? It's just, am I going to walk with this foot forward, turn my head here, and so on. But let's just say 1% of those impact our well-being, or that's 300 decisions in a day. Are we going to leave those to chance, or are we going to put mindfulness behind it? So keep that in mind. Now, when you brew tea, okay, and you watch, this is how I brew my tea, no microplastics, right? When you brew tea and you sit and you escape the noise and you watch your tea brew, and you're about to take in something very pure, what surfaces is what matters most in your life. So it's time to escape the noise, enjoy your tea as a sacred thing. You think about intentionally what's most important in your life. Then I guide through your gratitudes. What 3 things are you grateful for that grounds you? Then we move into the release. What do you want to stop doing or stop being? And lastly, what do we want to manifest? What do you want to create? And that little daily practice I do every morning while I have my tea, very intentional. And it keeps me so grounded, so purpose driven, and I hold myself to a higher standard. That's a lifestyle brand. And I, put that out on my website so people could follow it. The other thing, I started my own podcast around that ritual. So with our customers, it's literally under 10 minutes. There are no introductions. People, no matter who you are, you enter and leave the same way. You pick a tea. Which tea did you choose today? What are your most important thing in your life right now? What are you grateful for? What do you want to stop doing? And what do you want to claim? And I had, 4 of them or 3 of them dropped so far. I filmed about 4 or 5. We have amazing guests coming who are all real customers because we're building such a great community. So a few doctors, celebrity in there, athletes. It's an amazing thing, all around attention, all around community. And that's what I truly mean about a lifestyle brand. We're building something to change your life in a good way.
You know, and I've been following since we connected last year, you know, some of the celebrities that are sharing about the tea and that, you know, because a lot of people, they look at celebrities, oh, you guys are too busy, you won't drink a cup of tea. They like to pause and take a break once in a while too.
It's wellness. It's wellness. It really is. Drinking pure. Yep.
We have a question here from Golf Tip. One final question. What legacy do you hope Pure and Easy Tea leaves behind?
I hope we reach millions and help people better their lives through such a daily ritual. And it's when you, so what I love about it and what the customers say, and you could read the reviews and everything, I really want people to escape microplastics, brew your functional teas in abundance. And when you're consuming this in a day, right? So we set it up that way where only a couple teaspoons out of a big bag like this, we're giving it in abundance. When you drink this in a day, you're going to feel like $1 million. You're going to escape all the sugary sodas, 0 calories, 0 sugars, pure nourishment. And it's a lifestyle. You're just going to feel great and be at your best. And while you're doing it, it's easy to make the good choices. It's what you're not drinking, right? So when you hydrate and when you're drinking like this, like I do, I drink hot, iced, all of it. I know I'm not reaching for a sugary soda. I'm not reaching for alcohol. So we're supporting something good. It's not just a tea company. We're not.
And that's what we talked about when we first met each other, right? Because I was just like, I don't like just promoting tea because a lot of people think, oh, Miss Liz, where's your tea? I don't serve a beverage, guys. My guests are my beverage. You know, the stories are the beverage. You get flavors, different topics, different blends. That is the tea that I serve here. And I truly want to make a difference with tea time in a different way, storytelling with tea. And when all the guests come to the table, even including you, Carmen, I ask you, what is your tea? And like your tea is different than the tea that's coming this evening. You know, each tea is different. Each guest brings something different to the table. You know, I'd like to get at least a couple of these lightning bolt questions in there really quick for you. One word that defines your life philosophy, Carmen.
Mastery.
Biggest lesson learned after retirement?
Invest wisely.
What brings you peace today?
Happy customers, actually.
No more crickets, right?
Oh my God, I get some feedback. I'm like, who is this person? I want to give them a big hug. They get it. Everything I'm about, like the customer feedback, it's nothing. Like each of my blends is truly like a child. You know, so much goes into it. So when feedback comes in, that's good. I just, yeah.
It's like a reward of your child, right? Like they just got like first place in a spelling bee or something. It's hard to explain unless you live it, right? And I tell that to everybody. Unless you live it, you don't know it.
I'm saying all this outside of family, right? Family's at the forefront of everything. You can't do anything alone. So yes.
So Carmen, if you'd just like to spell out your website and your final message to all the listeners today.
Just work hard. Change doesn't happen overnight. Baby steps in the right direction. Plan, draw it out, write it down. You know, intentional living, escape the noise. Just focus on yourself. Yes, you could look me up on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. Just you could see my name there, and it's pureandeasytea.com. Just as it sounds, pureandeasy.com. And you could reach us there as well. I put so much into the website itself. Under Learn More, you could read more about my life story. And we have built a database around our pure ingredients. So we have a write-up for every single ingredient that we use in our blends. Full transparency, you'll see everything about it and the benefits and so on.
Well, thank you so much, Carmen, for sitting and spilling tea with me and serving real life tea, guys. This is a tea that we need to be having out there in today's world. I'm just going to do a quick wrap up of what today's tea time is, and I'll see everybody back at 7. What a thoughtful and inspiring conversation today. Carmen, thank you for bringing your wisdom, experience, and grounded perspectives to the tea time table. Your journey reminds us that true success is not measured solely by accomplishments, titles, or milestones. It is measured by our willingness to keep growing long after we have achieved them. Today, we explored leadership, purpose, discipline, reinvention, and the mindset required to continually challenge ourselves to become better. One of the strongest takeaways from today is this: mastery is not about arriving. It is about remaining teachable. Through your work, your company, and your book, you encourage people to embrace lifelong learning, intentional action, and humility while pursuing excellence. You reminded us that growth does not stop when we reach a goal. Often reaching a goal is where the next chapter begins. Here's some food for thought to leave with everyone today. What if the next level of your life is not about proving yourself to others, but about becoming the best version of yourself? Because the real big leads are not defined by status. They are defined by character, purpose, and the willingness to keep learning. Thank you, Carmen, for sharing your journey and reminding us that growth, humility, and intentional living remains some of life's greatest achievements. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep serving real life tea, one conversation at a time. And I'll see everybody at 7 p.m. and we'll do this all over again.
Thank you.